Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7 and today we are checking out the Carry Drift LCT. That's with the ultimate goal of seeing if it's worth adding to your collection or your daily carry rotation. Now this was sent to me via the Lefty pass around group, so I do not get to keep it. This was designed in-house by Carry, and this was OEM'd in Taiwan. So this is actually the first time that I've gotten to manipulate, and what a weird way to say that. It's the first time I've gotten to like check out a quiet carry, and it's different than what I expected. Not in a bad way, just I had expectations that were somewhere and this landed somewhere else. And that's largely for good reasons. But I saw Rob's live stream about the Quiet Carry Strand L, and I instantly fell in love with it. And getting to experience this knife kind of helped lock that in for me a bit, so it's probably going to be the first Quiet Carry I buy. Pending funds, as always. So let's jump into this one. So this one has this beautiful diamond pattern milling. So it's deep, and I would have thought initially that this would be kind of like sandpaper, like it would scratch you up over time, but I was dead wrong in such a good way. If you're a tactile person, not a tactile knife go person, but if you're a tactile person, then you're really gonna like the way this front scale feels. So we've got this diamond milling across the front scale. We've got these four they're kind of holes, kind of not. I'm sure they mean something. And I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to tell me, hey, this is what those are there for. I'm sure it means something. I just don't know what it is. I'd be really interested to find out. On the back, we've got some milling, same pattern as the front, but then we're all smooth here and up here, which is perfectly fine. We have a deep carry milled titanium non-reversible pocket clip. So you can see the pocket clip is cut out of this scale, but not cut out. Oh, I guess it would help if you could see it, but not cut out on this scale. So no bueno, reversible. And then we have T8 hardware for everything, even the pocket clip. And then we have no real visible hardware on the front. I mean, we've got the pivot and we've got the body screw, but there's no like visible tooling. So everything you do is done on the back end of the knife, nothing on the front, right? So business up front, party in the back. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. All right. And then we've got this like 1/3 lanyard, and there we go. Yep, there's the lanyard hole. Well, no. Is that? Yes, it is. Okay, yes, it is in fact a lanyard hole. I was tripping super hard for a second because I thought that was the blade, and then I moved the blade, and it was still solid, and I was like, oh, okay, that's still for a lanyard. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, just got confused out of nowhere for literally no reason. Now, ergonomically, this thing is a dream. I mean, like not aggressive ergos, and not neutral, but like they're just common sense ergonomics is what I'll call it, right? Here, you have a pointer finger that needs to go somewhere. So here's a fat, comfortable spot for your pointer finger to go. And then you need your thumb to go somewhere, so we put jimping here. So that's where your thumb goes. And the rest of your hand just does what it pleases. And that's literally what they built. Big comfy spot for pointer finger, jimping for the thumb. The rest of your hand does whatever the fuck it wants to do. I mean, like, it's just common sense ergonomics. And it's so comfortable. Incredibly comfortable. The pocket clip, I don't even know it's there. It's rounded. It's flat. You might as well not even have a pocket clip on here because I can't feel it. The one spot I kind of feel the pocket clip, it's actually more soothing than the rest of the knife, right? Like if they were like, you want us to take that pocket clip off for, I'd be like, no, it's relaxing. It grounds me. I like it. Like this knife is contending for the most comfortable knife I've ever had in my hand before. And the only reason I'm not saying it's number one is because I can't remember what other knife or two I had in that category. So I can't say for sure, but like this is top 3 all time most comfortable knives I have ever handled in my whole life. I've handled a couple knives, right? Like at least 20. And this thing beats at least 17 of them. So for whatever that's worth, it's pretty fucking comfortable. Now, as far as the balance goes, it's fair to say we are slightly butt heavy. But, you know, they didn't make a tiny knife. They made a robust knife with a very thin and slicey blade. So I think that's fair. I think we can tolerate some butt heaviness. The jimping is functional. And the overall feel of this knife is, it's not heavy or hefty, but it's like confidence inspiring, right? And I know that's a weird transition, but when you're holding this knife, it feels substantial. You feel like you're fully locked in and you're engaged, and it kind of feels like it's like you're holding hands with a friend. I'll say that, right? Like you're holding hands with a buddy and you know he's going to have your back. That's what it feels like holding this knife. And if you think that sounds crazy, well, clearly you've never handled Clearly you've never handled a quiet carry before. So, yeah, it feels like holding hands with your best friend. As far as the blade goes, we have a Stonewash drop point blade, and we are rocking Vanax Super Clean, which is one of the coolest knife blade steel names ever. We have a full flat grind, so it's going to be excellent at slicing and cutting tasks, but we still have a robust tip, which means it's going to also excel at, you know, stabbing or poking into stuff as well, right? Like don't pry bar it, right? Don't do that. But if you need to get into a bag of dog food and then slice it open, this knife is going to excel at that. If you need to get into the box and then cut it open, this knife is going to excel at that. And apparently if you need to do those things at 50 meters below sea level, then this knife is going to excel there as well. Now let's talk about the detent. So it's got a medium detent, right? And that's the amount of pressure, it takes to break past the detent and get the knife to fly open. And a sneak peek, just so you guys know, my hand is exhausted from flicking. Sneak peek. This is a handmade custom from Bober Blades. And I requested a strong detent, and I've been flipping that for the last couple of hours. So my hand is pretty gassed. So if I fail flick this, it has nothing to do with the knife, and it has everything with me being greedy and flicking that heavy detent and now being exhausted for this video. But the detent's medium, so that's the amount of pressure. It's a medium amount of pressure to break the detent. And it's very fidgety, right? Like you can reverse flick, you can thumb flick. Like it's a big knife, but it's a super fidgety, fun knife. And you can reverse flick with your nail, but you can also reverse flick just with the fat of your finger, which is my preference. And it's just a blast. I gotta say though, my favorite part about the action in general, the acoustics. Listen. So good. Yeah, the acoustics on this thing are phenomenal. I absolutely love acoustics. And they're like, you can have great action and not have great acoustics, of course, but like great acoustics is just the icing on the cake to what is already a fantastic action. And the acoustics on this thing are just wild. Very crisp, very clean. A single shake shut on the close, and this Lockbar access, God tier. You literally deliver yourself smoothly, just like from here, to here. In action, it's like the most natural thing. Just, there it is. Just absolutely delicious Lockbar access. It's wild how much access they give you while not breaking the aesthetic. Because if you tilt this, it's almost like the Lockbar just melts in to this this aesthetic. And it just looks super clean. Yeah, they did an awesome job. Now, is this lefty friendly? Kind of. I mean, so like I suck at everything lefty, so if I can do it, you know, a lefty can certainly do it. But I don't know exactly like what the, damn it. I don't know exactly what the cutoff is. Like, as a lefty, you know, is this worth it? Like, is there enough here for you to be like, oh yeah, I can do that? You know, or at this point, is it just too much of a pain and you'd rather just have like a lefty version, you know? I mean, if I can do it, like I said, a lefty can absolutely do it, so this might not be a problem to them, but I find this one to be a little more difficult than other knives that I would consider lefty friendly. So, so I'm going to say yes, technically, yes, but that's coming from a right-hand dominant perspective. So lefties, let me know how you feel about this knife in the comments. Now, overall length, we're coming in at 7.79 inches. Blade length is 3.4, and that gives us a blade to handle ratio of 0.77 or 77%, which is great. The closer you are to 80 and above, the better. Size comparison, we're going to go ahead and bring out the Real Steel Sylph. There we go. So, substantially taller and thicker than the Sylph, but not a ton. Make sure it's lined up right. Yeah, that was good, but not a ton longer, right? Let's do the Civivi Altus. For those of you that have one of these, kind of the same story. I'm probably going to stop showing the Altus, guys. I think it's time, right? I think it's time to let this guy go. By go, I mean set him off screen and just let him exist over there. Let's do the Civivi Brazen. And Civivi Brazen is coming in just shy. Well, if I include the glass breaker, and right at the same length. I mean, they're pretty much, yeah, they're pretty much the exact same length. And lastly, the ProTech TR3 Integrity, coming in slightly longer. So despite the fact that the knife looks substantial, and it is, it's really not that much bigger than these other knives that you guys have seen a million times, right? Overall weight's coming in at 5.1 ounces. And how much is this bad boy? I gotta find a better place to put weight. I feel like I just throw it out there at the end. So this knife is not cheap, right? It's coming in at 380 bucks, right? And they don't make cheap knives. You know, they don't even really make lesser expensive knives. I want to say the majority of their knives are 300 plus, with a few outliers. But is this knife worth 380 bucks? Well, I would say that depends. Like, I mean, if you want a solidly built, well-made, awesome EDC knife, yeah, this can be it. But so can a lot of knives, you know, for $200, $300, right? So I think, you know, to justify this knife, you really need to love the way it looks, but also really need Van X, right? You really need that corrosion resistance. If you need an excellent EDC knife and you have to have Van X, then I think this is an amazing option. I think it's an amazing knife in general, but you can have amazing knives for far less than 380 bucks. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you love the aesthetic of this knife and you value the things that I've talked about, and you absolutely have to have Van X for whatever you use your knives for, then yeah, 380 bucks, you're probably not going to find better. But if you don't need Van X for your daily tasks, and you would be just as happy with like an S90V or M390, then you could probably find a really well executed knife for like 250 bucks or even like 200 bucks, right? So, you know, this knife definitely warrants the price point of 380 if you really value Van X and you love everything else about the knife, right? Like, I can see exactly where 380 bucks is. It's not a shortcoming of the knife that I'm justifying the $380. It's the fact that there's other amazing, amazing knives that you can buy that are going to have incredible build, excellent acoustics, excellent action, that will have a very slicey blade, right? And you can find those for a lot closer to, like, you know, I would say with comparable quality, you know, probably 250 bucks, right? Definitely 300 bucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can find knives that are in this territory. They just won't have Van X. So I love this knife. I would spend 380 bucks on it, and I don't use Van X. But that's because I love the knife. So, you know, if you don't mind the price point and you don't necessarily care if it's Van X or not, but you just love the way this knife looks and the way it sounds and the way I'm describing it, then absolutely buy the freaking knife, right? But if you're maximizing value per dollar and you don't necessarily care about the Van X part, then you could find what you're looking for about 2/3 of the price. And if you're willing to let some of the quality go, you can find a really killer knife at like 200 bucks that's going to be slicey and have good action, good acoustics, great build quality. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard because it's not really based on what would I do with the knife or where do I value it. This knife at its price point with its attributes, it really depends. Like, if you need Van X and you like everything else, then 100%. Like a beautifully executed Van X knife, I don't think you're going to beat it at 380 bucks. But Van X is really specific. And if you don't need specifically Van X and you're cool with, like I said, M390 or a 20CV or something like that, then you could probably find this essential package for like 250 bucks. And I know I've said that a few times, but I'm trying to articulate that I'm pointing at $250 not as a shortcoming of the knife. This knife doesn't have shortcomings. Like, no knife is perfect, but like, this knife is so well executed that I can't point to specific like flaws in this knife. The reason I'm harping on 250 bucks though is because I don't want you as the consumer to walk away thinking that if you really like the aesthetic of this knife and you need something that's slicey, that you have to go up to $380, because that's not the case. I mean, if you were really budget conscious but still kind of liked this overall aesthetic, you could grab a Spyderco for like $150, $200, right? It's going to have like, you know, it's going to have the big flicking hole. It's going to be nice and slicey. It's going to be pokey. You know, it'll do all the stuff you need it to do, right? It'll just be a lot less expensive, right? So, you know, and you could go even cheaper than that. You could find some, you know, titanium, like the Migron Moyarl. You can find that sucker on sale. It's in the crossbar lock version for like $75, and it's titanium, super slicey blade. You know, it's got the flicking hole. I mean, you could go as far down as that if you just wanted something that was like general aesthetic, with similar feeling materials, that'll do all your daily EDC stuff. So, all right, that was a really long way of saying this knife is incredible, but you don't have to spend this much to get this type of knife if you're willing to forego the Van Axe. So for me, this knife would be a user through and through. This knife is essentially begging to be used. For even at its price point, I don't think many people buy this for it to be a collector's item. This knife was absolutely built, function over form, and they still pulled off one hell of a form, because this thing looks incredible. I mean, beautiful milling, beautiful stonewash blade. The profile, very handsome, very clean and simple. So, yeah, I would say this knife is definitely worth its price point, as far as build quality and materials go. But if you don't need Van Axe, then you can definitely search much further down the price range and find something that you like just as much as this. Okay, so if you would do me a favor, let me know down in the comments, what are your thoughts on this knife? Did I butcher my explanation of it? Or do you have a different take on it? Or do you agree completely? Either way is fine. Let me know down in the comments. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. And if you want to help the channel out, there's a few ways to do that down in the description. Shipping's very expensive. Costs me about $240 a month. So if you want to donate $2 or $3 here or there, that would be incredible. So links for that down in the description. Otherwise, it's been fantastic. I appreciate the love and support. You guys have been incredible, amazing, and thank you so much for what you do for the channel. Until next time, peace.